You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
All the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of 81 The Truth. I got Brother Sin on the other line. Brother Sin, how are you?
I am living.
This is the Godfather, Joel D. Supernaw. Man, how good was Ladd on that podcast that we did on Sunday?
He's got it, man.
He really does have it.
Yep.
I'm not just saying that. Man, watching that kid grow up has been the highlight of my life. I can't wait to get back there. Look forward to being back there with my son very soon. Guys, it's the 24th, Sin?
Yes.
Where we at?
All day.
It is the 24th, and if you're like me, you're off to a great start to the new year on the nutrition and the exercise program. You've heard me tell you that I can't listen to anybody's advice, but I give great advice, so I had to go back and listen to my own advice today. And failure is a part of your program. You're not going to be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect for 90 days. I can try, but I'm not. So I slipped up a little bit on the way home. I didn't have a really good day today. So right now, I'm a day out. But I'm only a day away from being back in. And that mindset, that is powerful. It's powerful. Instead of going to sleep tonight being like, oh man, I ruined everything and da-da-da-da-da, I just do the same thing I did 3 days ago, which is plan out my day, plan out my eating, and go do it. And I know 24 hours from now, I'm back in. So if you're like me, don't throw away all your hard work. Failure is a part of your program. Isn't that right, Sin?
That's right. It's a very important part, because if things went perfectly and swimmingly every day, then either A, your goals are too low, too narrow-minded, not big enough, and B, you're missing something, because making any kind of significant or substantial change in your life is going to take work, and you're going to have setbacks. So if you're not doing that, then there's something missing in the process. So,
all right. So we had the Super Bowl teams make it this weekend. Philadelphia run through Minnesota, and good for Philadelphia. They haven't been to the Super Bowl. Oh man, I want to say did Donovan McNabb get them in?
Yes.
One year?
They went to the NFC Championship game 4 times in a row, and then he got them in. I believe they lost to Indy. I think maybe.
Yeah, well,
but they
definitely lost to Indy. But
yeah,
it's been a while since they were in, and they are playing the team that's in every other year for the last 17 years, the New England Patriots. They're so easy to hate, and when you hate them just because they're good. That's why I hate them. I hate them because they're so good. Man, it's hard to watch that. Did you see that game? I watched it in the air. I watched the last 10 minutes in the airport, and it was so tough to watch.
Yeah. I saw parts of it. I didn't catch the whole thing. But. So,
how big of a favorite is New England? They said that they started out as the biggest favorite ever in the Super Bowl. That
really?
Seems
+5. What I saw earlier.
Oh, okay. So they're not the biggest favorite. There's been way bigger ones than that. Yeah, five's a. You got 3 for them being New England, and they're going to get 3 points of calls.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for?
I'd like to see Philly do it. It's good to see different teams. And I mean, it's. I also like legacies. To be honest, I think it's cool and impressive. I mean, I guess that's growing up being a Niners fan. with Montana and Rice, and a Bulls fan because those were just the first teams, coincidentally, that I ever saw play live in the respective sports. So I just followed the dynasties. So that's always kind of cool. But it's good to see a change, if nothing else, just to get people off that stupid idea that it's rigged for the Patriots. I mean, there have been some, borderline stuff that would make you think that, but I got to think it's above board.
It sure looks like it. But again, when you're rooting against somebody, everything looks like that. So some news in the NBA, but before I get to the NBA or this topic, Brother Sin, what's going on with Cleveland? Man, they can't win a basketball game.
No, and thank God. I hate LeBron. But no, I mean that's the problem. He's the star player, he's the GM, he's the coach. And it's unless there's somebody completely dismissive in that role, it's not going to work with him. He wants to have complete authority. He wants to be the figure they all turn to. And, they just don't have the pieces right now. The rotation is bad. Kevin Love is out, which now they're questioning his illness. And it's just not a good situation. And they have to accept the fact LeBron is not coming back after this season. So they need to figure out what they're going to do.
He's going to go try to do what he did before, which is put together a super team, what Golden State has, and it's what's killing basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
The players are running the league.
Yep.
And that's why I'm really, really happy that we're seeing something in baseball. And I'm not pro the owners, and I mean everybody needs to make their money, but the contracts have gotten so big and so outrageous that a guy that's scoring 9 points a game is making $100 million a year.
Yeah,
it's 100. He's got $100 million contract over 5 years, which is insane.
It's ridiculous in the NBA. Yeah.
So this news just came out that the NBA is trying to get New Jersey. They're for New Jersey. They're for legalized gambling everywhere in the country, and they want people to be able to bet on their games through an NBA app, and they want the VIG. They want 1% of everything bet. Is that am I wrong to think that's really, really, really shady?
You are exactly right. I mean, to have a league sponsored gambling is absurd, completely unheard of. It's ridiculous.
Except for the fact that, I mean, if they're taking 1% across the board, they don't have any way to lose. They're not setting the lines.
No, not at all.
So they're just raking. They're just taking the rake. You're gonna have to do some Brother Sin super intelligent research on this because there's not enough information out yet. Right now, on the surface, it seems across. It seems like the shark has jumped the boat, or the boat has jumped the shark.
Yeah, they've jumped the shark for sure. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to get people back in. Like you said, they're just trying to get the money. I mean, I've got to think, from what I've seen, the ratings are down. Basketball, it's just so watered down. It's not competitive. Golden State, again, like you said, they're quietly just dismantling the league again. These superpower teams. It's just not. It's not fun to watch. And there's so many no-name players, two-year and gone. All these, 1-year college players that jump out, make $10 million, and then they're gone 2 years later. I mean, the average NBA fan couldn't name a player on half of the teams in the league. When I was a kid in the 90s, I mean, I was a big Bulls fan, but I guarantee I could name at least one player on every single team in the league. People can't do that now.
I can't. I cannot do that. That's how disinterested I have become with the NBA. Hall of Fame voting today.
Yes,
Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting. we got 6 new entries, four today. We got Vlad Guerrero going in. I don't know if he's going to go in as an Angel or an Expo. I hope he goes in as an Expo. Trevor Hoffman, a closer. I'm sure he goes in with San Diego. Jim Thome, I gotta imagine he goes in with Cleveland.
Absolutely, he'll go in with Indians.
Chipper Jones, of course, he's got to go in with Atlanta. Jack Morris with the Veterans Committee. Both Jack Morris and Alan Trammell are in. What was interesting to me is Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens got 53% of the vote. So that means 53% of the writers have decided, okay, the steroid era, we need to ease up on it. But Sammy Sosa got 7% of the vote. So how do you wipe away Bonds and Clemens? Again, they're not in, but they're moving in the right direction, and I think they should be in. But how does Sammy Sosa get 7% of the votes?
I don't think Sosa had the longevity of the productivity that the other two had. I mean, he had some phenomenal seasons, a good stretch there, but he didn't have the start to finish.
He hit 600 home runs.
Yeah, but half of those were over like 5 seasons.
he hit 600 home runs. Another one that I was rooting for, that I was surprised for. You need 75% of the votes. Edgar Martinez,
yes,
a lifelong designated hitter out of Seattle, got almost 71%. So he would be, if Edgar gets in, I'm pretty sure he would be the first pure hitter to get into the Hall of Fame, and I'm rooting for him.
20 votes shy. Me too, absolutely. I mean, he's by far the best DH they've ever had, and the first primary. I like this vote. I mean, Thome, 500 plus home runs.
Thome got 600 too.
Did he get 600? Okay, so I wasn't surprised with him. I mean, he's got the all-time record for game-ending walk-offs with 13 in the history of baseball, so I'm not surprised there. Chipper Jones. I mean, I grew up a Mets fan, so I always hated him, but he may be, I mean, he's getting in the Hall, so he's not underrated, but still, he may be the most underrated player of the modern era. I mean, that guy produced year after year after year as a switch hitter with never even an inkling of PEDs during that era. I mean, Chipper was game year after year, so I was...
Yeah, I'd be easy. I'm not... I agree with you 100%, but listen, as long as there's been professional athletes making money, there's been professional athletes gaming the system. So whether it was speed, steroids, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to buy into that, and it shouldn't matter. Yeah. Your numbers in your career is what defines you. It irritates me to no end that we separate. We separate the steroid era. I mean, how about the guys, in the 30s and the 40s that were, horrible racist and they used to beat their women
and hopped up on amphetamines and everything else. Yeah.
So I mean,
I agree. Yeah, unless they can go back and prove that every player prior to '96 had tested clean, you can't go in and make. Yeah. They just need to get over that and just vote them all in. But on the Guerrero thing, I saw our boy Ariel Helwani had made a post. He's a sappy Canadian from Montreal, that he would be heartbroken if Vlad goes in as an Angel because, the Expo fans have lost so much already that if he decides to go in as something else, it'll just, destroy what little Montreal has left in the form of baseball legacy.
Well, I mean, Ariel's missing a big point. They never supported their team.
Yeah, very true.
They never. I'm a lot older than Ariel. I've watched a lot more baseball games than Ariel. The Cubs played the Expos 100 times, a year, it seemed like, and there was never anybody in that stadium. So they moved them away, They moved them to Washington, I believe.
Yeah, Nationals.
Isn't that where they went?
Yep.
And they've had success there.
Absolutely.
So, boo-hoo, Montreal Expos. You don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, I do get what he's saying to a point that, if not Guerrero, they've got nobody else that'll ever make the Hall. I mean, I think Tim Raines is. Did he get in?
I think Raines is in.
Okay.
Or he's real close.
Yeah, he may have gotten
Raines
in the last year too, but other than him and Guerrero, there's no one. So.
Yeah, and Andre Dawson was a good Expo.
Hawk.
I wonder if he had to go in with the Cubs. He might have went in half and half. But anyway, you had a talking point that Ben Askren was on the Jim Rome show.
Rogan. He was on Rogan's MMA podcast. So Rogan's got it kind of separated now. He does his normal, show with comedians or philosophers or scientists. It's his normal show, but now he's also an MMA dedicated program each week. But yeah, he had Askren on there, and we don't see Askren on too many of the big time shows. So it was kind of cool to hear him talk, especially for guys like you and me who are big time, amateur wrestling fans. But he had went into detail about how he got screwed by Dana White when he left Bellator. So he was in Bellator. He was the champ. I think this was 2013, maybe 2014. And his contract was up, and Dana had told him, "We will sign you, but you have to get out of your Bellator contract, the matching clause." He had like one fight left, and they told him, "You have to get out you have to get them to release you 100% with the matching clause being voided." So apparently this was a story he got from Dana from 2, 3, 4 months, and finally Bellator just got tired of it, said, "Okay, fine, we completely release you, you're done." And then he went to UFC, made the call, said, "Hey, I'm out," faxed it over, let's get this done. And all of a sudden UFC came out and said, "We have no interest in signing you." So apparently, Dana was trying to get him out of Bellator, didn't want to sign him. I don't know if he had a personal vendetta or just didn't want Bellator having anybody that was, at that very top tier elite level. So,
I feel bad for the sports fans. I feel bad for Ben. Ben didn't do himself any favors.
No, and he admitted that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He didn't do He didn't do himself any favors. This is a sport that man, the UFC, Zuffa, basically created this sport with a very, very limited amount of athletes. Okay, this is a true statement. So as they dumped in all their money, and again, I'm just telling you the story as I see it. As they dumped in all their money and other promotions came up, what would they do? They would buy them. They would buy them like any other smart company would and take all their talent. Why Ben never got in the UFC, quite frankly, is because Ben wouldn't just be quiet.
Yeah.
All Ben had to do was play the game just a little bit. I believe we're robbed, but I don't think we're done with Ben Askren.
No,
I think Ben. Ben says he's done, but why wouldn't Scott Coker sign Ben Askren back?
Yeah,
and to see if I would love to see him fight Rory. I would love Ben to have an opportunity to either prove he is the best at 170 pounds, and he always has been, or he was a big fish in a little pond. He
had mentioned that. He had listed, I think, 4 reasons why he thought UFC never signed him. One was the fact that he wouldn't play ball, that he was always, made his comments or his snarky jokes about Dana. He never pulled any punches. Dana didn't like his boring wrestling style, and that he was never going to be a yes man. And he really feels like Dana wants people that are going to be yes men and just do what he says and act how he says. And so those were his reasons. But he did leave out that he would come back definitely for a fight with GSP. That he would sign that any day, any time. That would guarantee him come back. And then I believe Rogan did bring up, coming back to fight Rory, because now a lot of people are saying Rory is the best, welterweight in the world. And Ben said, if I really had to come back to disprove that, I probably would. So I think that's a possibility. And, if something ever happened where he got GSP, he said hands down he would, he'd fight that one.
The one thing about Ben is I believe he's always been pretty successful with his wrestling camps and his wrestling club.
His academies, he's got 3 of them up there in Wisconsin.
Yeah, he also loves it. It's his passion. Wrestling's his passion. And he kind of always had a way to just he had the FU card. Again, he wasn't looking to become the most rich and famous guy in the world. His own personal beliefs were important to him. I do believe if Ben doesn't get a chance to come back and prove, to have the opportunity to prove, hey, I was the best. I think 5-10 years from now, you sit with him and say, I could have zipped it a little bit.
Yeah.
But now
he was fun to listen to anyway. Like I said, for fans of amateur wrestling like us, he's the kind of guy you listen to him talk about amateur wrestling and his academy and stuff. He makes you excited about it. He's one of those guys that really, like you said, has that passion for wrestling and makes it fun to listen to. And apparently he's got a podcast with Tommy Rowlands, who I actually wrestled in high school from Columbus to Sal's, who was, 2-time All-American at Ohio State. So pretty cool.
Did Tommy beat you like a wet blanket?
He did. I was a freshman. He was a senior. I got pinned second period. I did. That was one of my few.
Tommy beat up a lot of people.
Yes, he did.
All right. Yeah, here's let's have a little bit of fun here down the stretch. So, God, sometimes it's hard to get these things out. Sometimes it's hard to talk about things that just make me want to punch myself in the face because it happened. Okay, Tim Johnson. Okay, who is a good, solid UFC heavyweight. I think if you pull up his record, he's probably 5-3 in the UFC. I'm going off the top of my head. Yep. Go ahead and fact check me there.
Yep.
He has a fight in Brazil, and he's got his 2 corners. He's got his plane ticket to Brazil. He's got his 2 corners, but the cheap old UFC won't fly 2 more of his corners to a vacation in Brazil. So he started, or somebody within his camp started a GoFundMe account, and as I was flipping my lid on this, I hit enter. They raised 17 people raised $4,000. So 2 of his coaches, that means that now Tim Johnson needs 4 coaches to go to Brazil and fight. Oh my God! Have we lost any kind of integrity in this world? Okay, I mean, go fund me for parents. They've their house burned down. Somebody's husband died tragically. Somebody needs a kidney transplant. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Okay, on the list. What should be on the list on the GoFundMe page of what you can't put a GoFundMe page on is to fly 2 of your buddies to Brazil for a vacation. Okay, he needs 4 corners. He needs 4. Okay, they only let 2 come inside the octagon.
Yeah.
So he's a heavyweight. So I've got to take away the nutritionist, okay?
And he does nothing but stand and throw haymakers, so he doesn't need a grappling coach.
Okay, let's just. He doesn't need a nutritionist. If he is that important that he needs a nutritionist, then Tim Johnson needs to fly him out. This isn't the UFC, so he doesn't need that. Now, I've got to imagine that of the two coaches that do get to go on vacation, because that's what this is. That's what a corner is. Okay, he's your bro, and somebody's got to be your coach. Okay, he's your coach, but most of the time he was a fighter. Okay, well now he's got to be a coach because he can't fight no more. There's not a lot of money to be made in being a coach, so the only thing you got to look forward to is if MMA whatever interviews you sometime, or you get on a plane and get a cool guy pass. So, but again, let me get back to this. So he doesn't need a strength and nutrition. Well, he doesn't need a nutritionist. Now, one of his two coaches, whether they're a grappling coach or something else, they're a professional coach. They've got to be able to hold the mitts for a guy.
Yeah.
Ladd can hold the mitts, okay? Ladd can hold the mitts and put you through a workout. All right, so why on God's green earth does he need four corners? And furthermore, why on God's green earth is there a GoFundMe account? Next, isn't that embarrassing? That has to be embarrassing. That also means Tim, okay, Tim, you're not getting another UFC contract. That's embarrassing to the UFC. They didn't do anything wrong. You had a contract that said 2 corners, flights and hotel. You know, you get 2 rooms. They're in every one. So see, this is the kind of thing where I believe. Here's what I believe. I believe this. Tim Johnson said, hey, I only got 2. And then some woman, okay, or some nut hugger within that bunch of people that surround these fighters said, man, let's do a GoFundMe account. And God damn it, if they didn't they win. But come on, help me here, Sin. Fill in the blanks here. What am I missing?
Not a damn thing. It's ridiculous. And like you said, an integrity thing, and pride. I mean, if nothing else, go out and be a businessman and get a sponsor. I mean, I know you can't wear them into the ring anymore, so it cuts down some of the opportunity, but hell, do it on the down low. Don't make it public and embarrass yourself that A, you're a professional athlete and you have zero money, and B, like you said, people with any sort of knowledge into the situation whatsoever know that you don't need 4 people.
Yeah, you don't need 4 people, and if you need 4 people, you need to pay for those guys to get
exactly.
out. This hasn't changed forever. They're not flying 4 corners over to Brazil. It doesn't matter. Well, I mean, just because you make money doesn't mean you have to be the Godfather and go tear it up and throw it away. Okay, it's not a job. Pissing money away isn't a job. If it was, I would be the best at it in the history of the world. So, but again, now 17 people raised $4,000. That's about $300 a pop. They all had to come within his own friends and family.
Oh, absolutely.
Why do the embarrassment of doing a GoFundMe account? You guys already know who it is. Hey Tim, the two whining coaches that didn't get to go, that can't afford to go because again, most of this is the only reason you do this is a hobby. There's no money in being the 4th corner. I'm the 4th corner for Tim Johnson. Okay, so I'm gonna go knock on doors. A guy comes to my door. Hey, I'm Bobby Rabbit, and I'm raising money so I could be Tim Johnson. Get out of here! What are you talking about? I'm going to pay a grown ass man to go on vacation. What are you serious? And there's the internet is so full of idiots that he's got a band of supporters beating up the UFC for not paying for these tickets. Now, again, there's a whole bunch of things I want done for the fighters, but flying cornerman number 3 and cornerman number 4 on a vacation? I mean, why not just take Scrove Brown and the whole crew? Let's go 6 deep. Timmy needs 6 of them. Asinine.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
It is.
I don't think Tim did it. I don't think it was, I think he got caught. These guys get around these fighters and they want to make whatever little thing that they do more important than it is. And then when they get there, they can't even figure out a way to tell the fighter how much time's left in the round, or that's the most important thing, to let them know how much time's left in the round, or where's my goddamn water at? They forget all the time. All the time these guys forget. So we need to fly 4 people to Brazil for Timmy so they can bring a clock and some H2O. I'm out. I'm not buying.
I absolutely agree, but as you're talking, I'm looking. If you search GoFundMe, if you search by UFC, there is a shocking number of UFC fighters with the exact same GoFundMe, whatever you want to call them, going on. They've gotten their call from the UFC, but it's on 2-week notice. James Krause, who's a fairly decent-sized name in the UFC, is taking a fight on short notice and doesn't have the money. It says he gets 1 corner man per his contract, and he needs more. So Tim Johnson's not the only one. There is multiple GoFundMe campaigns running for UFC fighters to get themselves or other people to fight.
man, let me share. Let me smarten you.
Training camps, travel. Oh my God, they're all over.
Let me smarten you dummies up, okay? So most of the successful people in the sport spend a great deal of time wrestling because it's the toughest sport in the world. Makes the toughest champions. If we go down the line, most of them are wrestlers. As a matter of fact, let's do it. Top to bottom, where do you want to go? Okay, Stipe, wrestler. DC, wrestler. Who we got? We got a GSP. All right, GSP, not a wrestler.
Tyron, wrestler.
Tyron, wrestler. Connor, not a wrestler. Connor, not a wrestler. And then the other 2,
TJ,
Big Ferg.
Yep.
Big Ferg's a wrestler.
TJ and DJ, both wrestlers.
TJ's the wrestler. Holloway, he's not a wrestler. So they're just the champions prove my point that 70% of the toughest fighters in the world are wrestlers. Well, a lot of them had to go to wrestling tournaments all year round. A lot of them, like the Godfather, didn't have $2 to rub together, okay, and would just jump in the back of anybody's car that would get him to the wrestling tournament and somehow come up with the $15 to get into the wrestling tournament. And when that guy showed up, he didn't have a coach. He didn't have a corner. You know what he did? He looked at one of his buddies and he said, "Hey, you want to sit in my corner?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll sit in your corner. I got a towel for you. I got some water for you. I got some words of encouragement for you." And that is the exact formula to how people became cornerman in this sport. As the sport grew, the corners grew. Matt Hughes, love him, absolutely love him. He is the one that started hugging his coaches and giving big love. Now everybody started giving big love to the corners. Man, get to the cage. It's an ass whipping contest. Somebody have some water and you need a cut, man. All right? And some time. There ain't nobody giving you any goddamn words of wisdom after 8 minutes of a fist fight in a cage. You can nod your head and your coach is going to be like 2, 1, 3, 4, and somehow you go out and hit him with a 4, and the first thing you're going to do is be like, oh my God, Billy Rabbit, I'm so glad we did the GoFundMe. We got him all the way over to Brazil, and he told me to throw a punch. I actually threw a punch. Oh, Billy Rabbit. Oh, Billy Rabbit going to Brazil.
Don't discount the importance of the corner, though. Did you see the debacle with Ngannou's corner on Saturday? Those guys were clueless. The first round, they forgot his stool. They didn't bring any water. They were putting dry towels on his chest in between rounds. They were completely unprepared.
Yeah, it happens, buddy. It happens every single event. Buddy, trust me. If you grab these fighters, if you grabbed them all, and they kayfabe, or shot. They did a shoot, and they actually told you of the horrific dysfunction that happens more than half, probably 60% of the time. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it, man. You would not believe it. Again, that's what. Let's get back to Robert Follis. That's a guy that knew. A guy that knew there was something to being a corner man. Yeah. You have to run a corner. Yeah, I mean, if you're running a corner, good for you. But most of you guys are Billy Rabbits. It's just true. You're never gonna convince me otherwise. You need somebody in your corner you can trust. You know, Chael's had Rudy in his corner for the last 40 fights. You know, Rudy doesn't know nothing about fighting, but he loves Chael. Okay, that's that. It doesn't matter who's in your corner. All right, Billy Rabbit. I'm glad you got the money, and yeah, whatever. Okay, so apparently, the odds makers haven't learned anything from last weekend. They didn't learn one single thing. Because did you see that they made JJ a 2-1 favorite over Thug Rose?
I did.
I don't think she was a 2-1 last time. How's she going to get dropped twice, knocked completely out, and be a 2-1 favorite?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where they're getting that one. You know, I mean, I get it. JJ had the multiple defenses prior, but yeah, she got clean knocked out. I mean, it wasn't split decision. It wasn't, sketchy judging. She got her ass knocked out.
Well,
early.
How many times do you even see a woman knock somebody clean out like that?
Especially not at strawweight.
And she dropped her first.
Yeah.
She got back up, then she knocked her down. Man, you didn't listen to me. You guys, I hope you listened to me last weekend, because The Godfather was all over it. Didn't lose a fight. And man, get your money in on Thug Rose. That's a gal that's serious about the business. She's got a good, tight team. I don't think they're doing any GoFundMe accounts. Maybe that's how everybody gets there. I don't know. And maybe poor Timmy and Billy Rabbit had to be the wrath of the Godfather today. God, I love Billy Rabbit, by the way. I mean, geez, Billy Rabbit.
She was on Rogan today with her boyfriend Pat Barry. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but
I did. It was awesome.
It
must have been yesterday.
Okay.
Because I listened to it in the middle of the night last night, and they said Pat Barry's great. Them together, their whole team, the little crew they run with, just fantastic people. But
they're both nice, but are they both a little dumb? Because they come off as being a little dumb.
No, not at all.
No? It might just be their mannerism, their way of speaking. But sometimes she talks, and I'm like, you're not too bright. But
no, she's really, really smart.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, she wants to figure everything out. She wants to figure everything out. Like Pat Barry says, they'll go hunting, and she'll make a 5-course meal out of mud flowers. No, she's a smart little gal. But apparently, when USADA was doing their testing before the fight or whatever. It's just Joanna and a USADA official running past Rose and her USADA official, just the two of them. And this is after all of the nonsense that Joanna had all through the week. And she just looked at her and said, "Do you believe him? Did you buy the ticket?" And then just walked past. And so for whatever reason, that tripped out Rose. So Rose went to the locker room and said, we got to have a meeting, which is code for everybody get out of here other than my team, other than, Pat, my head coach, and Billy Rabbit. Yeah. And she told them, and then Pat Perry was like, "Oh, fuck, what's that mean?" So they were all tripping on it for like 5 minutes before she got her head back together, which is what Rogan was saying is, isn't that funny what can get inside your head? This is why these guys do this, is because something like that doesn't make any sense can get inside your head.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the things Askren pointed out too when he was on Rogan, that he takes a couple people to the fights with him that have no interest in MMA, that just sit back and bullshit with him the whole time in the locker room because he doesn't want to think about any part of the fight before he walks out. So he brings people back there that just sit and bullshit with him about random stuff for an hour, so he doesn't ever think about it or get caught up in it.
Well, yeah, and if you look at, one of the reasons, Stipe has his whole crew come in, they're all firefighters. They don't give a fook about how cool everybody, all the shine that Stipe's getting. Man, I'm just blown away that after that win, Stipe wasn't on everybody's talk show this week, getting all the shine that he deserves, man.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
unbelievable.
That was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, all-time record holder, most victories, defending the title. I mean, clearly can't really argue against him. Best heavyweight champ of all time. Yeah, I mean, all-American guy, firefighter. Yeah, he should be on the Wheaties box. He should be on Sports Illustrated. He should be, like you said, every talk show across the country. Well-spoken, clean cut. Yeah, I don't get it.
So what happens with Ngannou now that the air of invincibility, now that very much like Chael showed that Anderson Silva was human. Yep. Thug Rose now knows that JJ's human. What's Ngannou? Is he going to continue to be able to run through the opponents, or now you've got the blueprint for victory against them?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to take a step back and make some adjustments. And, in the last couple of days, it's coming out that, some sources, people that work at the UFC, the Training Institute, are quietly saying, yeah, we weren't allowed to really talk about it, but he did not do 2 minutes of wrestling the entire training camp. He did not do conditioning. All he wanted to do was stand and work on striking. He thought he was just going to roll. Roll through Stipe, and all these people are coming out saying, "Yeah, we didn't want to say anything, but he did not wrestle, not 1 minute."
Those guys are all going to get fired. The Dana's going to get them all. God, that's so funny.
But I think
it's so funny that people do that.
I think they match him up with somebody like Derek Lewis. They, just to keep a little bit of shine on him, to keep him, in a decent light.
Well, I think Lewis has got a big fight that's coming up soon.
Yeah,
against,
Tybura.
That undefeated Australian.
Tybura, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's young enough that he's definitely got time to gain some skills and still make a run. But yeah, he's got a lot of improvement to do. I mean, he didn't have an ounce of ability or skill in stopping a takedown or getting up. He had no clue how to get up whatsoever. I mean, not even natural instinct.
I watched Randy Couture take away great fighters' careers. Gabriel Gonzaga, Pedro Hizzo, and Tim Sylvia. The beating he put on those guys was reminiscent of the beating Nagano just put, or Stipe just put on Nagano. Man, that's a hard thing to come back on.
Yep.
And he was just, yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. I tell you, that's about all I got for tonight. You got anything else in? We ran around the barn long enough. I'm just so happy that Billy Rabbit got his plane ticket.
He got his $4,000. He's gonna head down there to Rio and live it up.
No, he got two. He got
$2,000.
So
all right.
that seems like a lot of. I mean, what's it cost? Do some research with 2 weeks. What's it cost to go to Brazil? You know, what's a hotel? $2,000. That seems to be $4,000 for two guys. I mean, that's pretty good eating, I think.
Yeah, you know, oceanfront suite in Ipanema, and they're gonna be living it up, partying down there with Claudia Gadeja and Mackenzie Dern at the clubs in Rio. Yeah, they're gonna have a good old time on our dime. Well, not my dime, but somebody's dime.
Not on mine.
Somebody's dime.
No, sir. I like to piss money away, but there is a limit to nonsense. There is some of that.
So do we have one last thing? Do we have any inkling when the semis are going to start for the Grand Prix?
Oh man, we still got 3 more fights.
I know, but they said they wanted to have the whole thing wrapped up within the calendar year. And I know they got the next 2 February, April, and May, but I haven't even heard a remote inkling of when the semis. I think Chael said today maybe early winter, but unless they do like both semis on one card and then the final end of the year, I just wondered if you had any info that I hadn't.
No, man, I think that was one of Chael's best performances.
Absolutely.
I was blown away. I was blown away again.
He just kept smacking him with that left early on. Rampage didn't know where it was coming from, and then he hit those takedowns. Bellator got a couple of great shots on their photo gallery of Chael blasting that double and getting him down. But yeah, he looks solid.
Yeah, good for him, man. Good for him. He could really do something fantastic if he can. Well, and now see again, that's a tournament. This is a guy that comes from tournaments.
Exactly.
And even though it's a different setup, it is a different feel. He's going to gain a lot of confidence from that, because if he could take Rampage down 3 times, well,
Mir's a big boy though. If he gets Mir,
I don't think he needs. I think he could box. I think he needs to try to box.
All right. Well, we are victim of technology as our Skype crashed there right when the Godfather was talking about Chael's prospects in the next couple rounds. But good show anyway. We had 47 solid minutes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back again at least once more this week. We've got some good stuff for you, and we're really getting on a roll and really having some fun, bringing some good content for you. So I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, congrats to our man Chael P. Man, that was fun to watch, and it was one of his best performances. Literally broke my heart to have to sell my tickets, my third row, damn near cage side tickets, and not go. But sometimes choices have to be made, and I got to watch it anyway, up close and personal on my 75-inch TV, and was emotionally invested every second. So again, Mr. Sonnen, congratulations. I think you could do something really special here and shock the world. So looking forward to every bit of it. So until next time, guys, for our sponsors, Amazon, find the link on the Facebook page. Click on it. Buy your stuff through our link. Show us you love us. Send a few pennies back our way. We do appreciate it. Audible, audibletrial.com/8192thetruth. 180,000 titles to download and listen on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, all your mobile devices. New titles being added daily. I'm actually looking forward to when the 4-pack revolution may come on there. I need to talk to Chael about that, because I'm reading the book now, but to hear him read it would be pretty darn cool. So for Amazon, for Audible, and as always, On It and Everlast, get the links on our page. Go to it, save yourself some money. We would appreciate it. Guys, for The Godfather, this is Brother Sin. Until next time, we're out.